So I had my arbitration on Wednesday, and it was to return my Lexus that I've had nothing but problems with since I got it in 2023. I got it on 12/30/23. There's my video shaking. I have to get a new stand. I'm sorry, you guys. It's been the last thing on my mind until I do this again. So anyway, I am Michelle Simon, and I broke up with fear, shame, and guilt in 2019, even though it hasn't broken up with me yet. And I've had other New Year's resolutions / intentions since then. And if you want to see any of my previous videos, they are on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I think YouTube is the easiest, but I am the change. You know, I started this as be the change, and then being the change, and now I am the change. So you guys, I was talking to you, and I tickled this pillowcase. This is like, I've been tickling corners of like pillowcases since I've been, God, a kid. And you know, when you're 2 or 3, everybody thinks it's so cute. Well, I'm 53 and I'm sure it's not cute anymore, but it makes me feel better. And now, because I broke up with shame, fear, and guilt, I bring it to the doctors, I bring it to the hospital. I want people to know if I don't have it, I want them to say, does Michelle have her pillowcase? Is she comfortable? So as long as you guys know this about me, then you'll make sure that I have it if I ever go somewhere. So it helps me. So that's why my arm is moving. And I noticed it in my last video. I'm like, oh, this looks so weird, but I tickle the corner. It helps with my anxiety. So anyway, I was talking about the arbitration and the Lexus. You guys, I prepared like you would not believe. And here what happened was, I originally sought out how you go about this process, and I had no idea because I never got a car that was a lemon before. And this was a brand new Lexus NX 350 hybrid, a 2024, and from the second it came off of the truck, immediately when I first test drove it, I said what is it? When you guys, like the alignment was off, and I told them, and they took it back, and they came back and they said everything's fine. And then I had somebody else drive the car to my house because I kept my old car. I was going to sell it on my own, and I'm not married, and I didn't have anybody to go with me to the dealership. Probably I did, but I didn't ask anybody because, I hate bothering people. So anyway, this kid drove my car back, and then I got in it that night because I was so excited, and the alignment was severely off still. And I was like, God darn it, that kid had to know when he drove it to my house that it wasn't right. Oh my God. You guys, I don't know how this is working. Hold on a second. Okay. Is this working? I don't know how it's going. It's still recording. Okay. Sorry, guys. I have my earphones in, and I didn't plan on wearing them. They're so light and comfortable. They sit on the outside of your ears. I forget that they're on. I wish like Apple or Bose or Beats made them like this. So they were like $26, and I love them. They're so easy. They're silicone, but the volume doesn't get super loud. But I forget I'm even wearing them, even when I have glasses on. So anyway, about the arbitration. Do you know I have ADD, obviously, because I keep jumping around. But anyway, I prepared for this arbitration. Besides the alignment being off, they had to resurface my brakes at 7,000 miles. I started complaining that my brakes were really rusty at 5,000 miles. I noticed the guy who lives next to me, he never drives his car. Like, he's always home. And he has this Honda, and I had rust on my brakes, and he didn't have any. And I'm like, my car is brand new. I just got it. So they said it was fine at 5,000 miles. At 7,000 miles, they resurfaced the brakes. That's what they told me. But apparently, when I found out at my arbitration, they actually did. I don't know what they did. But anyway, I ended up getting new brakes on a hybrid at 14,000 miles. And apparently, a hybrid doesn't really use the brakes. So I don't understand this. And on top of it, like I had this vent in my dashboard that came out, and it was there for like 4 days for this piece. And then I got it back, and then it did it again. Well, I was going to glue it, and thank God I didn't, because they have to remove the whole dashboard off for this piece. It's like a big, huge deal. So I'm so grateful I didn't get the crazy glue or the, Gorilla Glue and glue it back on. So anyway, that was a thing. And then, my car started to leak at the car wash. The water is coming in through the sunroof. So, and right before I was bringing it back for like the third time with the brakes, I had my car not drivable for 40 days. I had seven different loaner cars in like less than a year and a half. And my neighbor said to me the one day, he's like, how come you have so many different cars? But every time they give you a loaner, which is so nice, but I have the best model. There's this button that you can press and see if you're parked like an asshole. It's my favorite thing on the vehicle. It like has a camera around the whole thing so I can see if I'm like parked, like an asshole, which I do a lot of times. I drive better backwards. Don't even ask me why. So anyway, apparently I filled out the papers wrong for the arbitration. And because I filled them out wrong, because I never did this before, Lexus immediately denied the claim. But then this company got a hold of me, NCDS. I forget what it stands for, but it's a free service that they provide that you can have an arbitrator and not have to hire an attorney. And I looked up the lemon law, and in Pennsylvania, you have to have the car back 3 times for the same thing, and it can't be fixed, and it has to be in the first 12 months. Well, mine didn't fit into that box. So I thought it's not the lemon law. So anyway, was it yesterday? Yeah, it was Wednesday. Yesterday, it feels like so long ago. Yesterday, the arbitrator said I was only allowed to talk about the brakes and the water coming in because of how I filled out the paper. And I said, well, I never did this before. Like, I didn't know. So the gas mileage is off. And here I'm supposed to get like 38 to 41 gallons or miles per gallon. And then I read on the thing the other day, in small print, it says 14 miles to 123 miles. That is such a span. But I have a picture of my car going 12.9 miles for the gas, which is so often. He said I wasn't allowed to talk about it. And then the woman from Lexus was not a kind woman. Like, I could hear her voice because I hear tones in people's voices. And she said, I was rear-ended last year, and she called it a collision. And I looked up today because I didn't even know. A collision is when it's on purpose. I was rear-ended. That was not a collision. But I didn't know. I didn't correct her. But I had all my paperwork. I had more paperwork than she did. So I was way more prepared. But anyway, at the very end, I said I don't feel safe in my vehicle. And also, I took the car out to do a couple of things, and the steering column is making horrible noises. The brakes are still making noises. And now they have 7 days to give me an answer. And I know that God does not want me in an unsafe vehicle. So I will know in 7 days or less what the answer is. So thanks so much for watching. Please stay tuned, stay safe, and I will see you all next week. Happy 4th.